insightful idea that takes the center stage and the conversation that gets beyond the headlines to explore the lasting impact of political decisions. Big Talk got you covered. From policy debates to geopolitical insights, from thought-provoking discussions to actionable insight.
What is the real responsibility of government?
Big Talk delves deep into the heart of the matter. Join us weekdays on global televisions from 6:30 p.m. for a reverting journey into the heart of politics, where we dissect issues shaping our society.
Hello everyone, tonight we'll go big as we x-ray the move by the Attorney General of the Federation and the Minister of Justice that has commenced moves to drop the charges that have been brought against 32 minors arraigned before the Justice Obiara of the Federal High Court. There have continued to be a whole lot of reactions, and the organizers of the End Bad Governance protest in Nigeria have vowed not to back down from protesting worsening conditions in the country. They vow, despite the treason charges leveled against several protesters that have been arrested, to sustain the momentum in the protest until the ruling class in Nigeria prioritizes the interests of Nigerians. That is the development in respect to that. But tonight, we'll look at all of that. The management of the security agencies, very much in particular, that the IG is the one handling this case, and the Minister of Justice that has seek some personal interest in order for him to look at how they can review, what was in consideration of the charges and the file that is still with the Inspector General of Police. He's trying to swiftly see how they can drop these charges against the defendant and the protesters that probably are in the custody of the prison and correctional service. Tonight, Professor Ibrahim is live here on the program to x-ray these issues and look at the broader implication of all of these management in Nigeria. Thanks so much, Prof, for joining us this evening. A whole lot of concern since when the last time we received the judgment. 76 protesters were arrested during the last End Bad Governance protest in the country. Some brought from Kaduna, some brought from many states. They have charged them treason. They lifted some flags that are not of Nigeria. The government has said they wanted to overthrow the government of the day. Give us an understanding about this, because in one way or the other, we might find that what they did and the actions was not in tandem with the law.
Thank you very much and welcome. Viewers, I am here to speak on that because, one, it has not become a rule or a law that somebody cannot host the flag of another nation. If you go to some of the churches and even our mosques, you see the flags of American, Britain, and other countries being hosted in churches, in mosques, and nobody has told them to drop those flags. In the protest, we have the Russian embassy here, which is flying the Russian flag. I think there is no justifiable reason if anybody has to. There is a protest and there is a flag of another nation, means they need a change. A change that look, we are going through this, and we feel that some other nations are doing better than our own. We have to either emulate those nations or change our dynamics. There is nothing wrong in flag. That is not reasonable. There are Nigerians who put the American flags in their car. There are Nigerians who put the British flags in their car. There are even some who are now following Burkina Faso and Ibrahim Toure, putting those countries' flags in their car because of what they see in those leaderships. So I know of a time in 1975, 76, up to the early 80s, when Nigerians were proud to put the Nigerian flag in their cars in Britain, in American. Today, we hide not to be Nigerians because the trade has changed so wide that that pride you have to being a Nigerian is no longer there. So if we change our rotation, if we change the leadership dynamics, I think everybody will be proud to be a Nigerian. So that is not treason in any way.
Because that is where they are really having their emphasis on the display of the Russian flags. Let's look at the priorities of government and so far in addressing these. We've seen that some of them are minors. We saw a very disturbing videos, that emerged from the courtroom. Some who were probably, the crying of hunger, the sad situation that was already what trailed the protest. But those are few that it looks that these young people were mobilized by, some political associates in order for them to, sell, their plans or their targeted manifesto against the government of President Bola Tinubu.
It is very apologous where you see some sin and you just don't know what to say because there is a lot of problems on the ground. If we have security laws that I have been advocating for so long, I don't think all these things will not happen. These things will happen. It will never happen. But I will pass the blame to the Office of the National Security Advisor and the Inspector General of Police. The adults that were arrested, there were so many adults. People pull out in thousands and millions in that protest. Where are they? Why the minors? Where were the full-grown adults?
So it looks like this was targeted to some group of people.
Whether it's targeted or not targeted, some people may have buy their way out.
Because it looks that in Abuja...
They said the police is our friend, but they are making more of enemies than friends. So when you cannot protect the people, because if there are security laws, somebody who's supposed to be reprimanded for doing this. The Inspector General did not deem it fit to go and see these people before going to court, taking these minors to court. I am very sure of that. And the charges is between the Inspector General of Police and the minors. So the vulnerables in the street, even as I blame the National Security Advisor, our office, and I blame the portfolio of the Inspector General of Police and his office, I'm not going to spare the northern so-called leaders and elders. They are also party to this. When they brought the issue of TAS, it didn't take anything for the 19 state governors to go and sit down in Kaduna and said, no, the TAS this, the TAS that must not happen. But these minors are there since August. The 19 state governors has no reason to sit down because of them. And I'm very sure if you look at the internet, the North has never made any comment about it. That is the kind of classifications we have. The whole so-called sheikhs and imams and what religion leaders, pastors and bishops who are from the North, none of them has passed any comment. Up to this moment, that is the kind of leadership we want to exhibit. And what are you telling these young ones? That they are neglected by the society, they are neglected by the region they come from, they are neglected by their states, they are neglected by their community, they are neglected by their local government, they are neglected by their districts and even villages. The royal fathers has not made any comment up to today. So the bulk of it is that we have missed it all for a long time. And we are not in tandem to reality.
And what is the reality?
The reality is that a leader is a servant of the people, not a ruler against the people.
Does it look that this move or this plan is targeted at discouraging future protests? Because those that feels, yes, it's a fundamental right of everyone to, engage in a protest. But the fears of government has been known. But where are the charges that have been, have been given against these minors? Does it look that it's a way of trying to tell the future protesters, be careful?
It's even going to aggravate things. Even Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is the president, has protested, and nobody charged him for treasoning. I don't think anybody detained him. No injury or harm was caused to him. So if he started this line, everybody would get to be additive to the line. And it becomes a major thing. We look at minor things that we are supposed to contain and overblown them to major issues in Nigeria. So if he is feeling that that is the only way to contain it, then the conflict resolution and crisis management is not a help to.
Prof, when you look at the prevailing conditions in the country, which has obviously fueled these protests, that those that are having a concern that, because the president will explain that we need some time for those, reforms and the policy he has taken to materialize. Don't you share in this ideology?
If you say you need some time, you understand me, to fix some certain things in your governance or even in your home, you cannot bring a mercy, for example. You can't bring a mercy, for example, and now he has no shovel, he has no tools, and you say, give me some time, I am going to do your job. The issue here is, where are the tools? What have you tell us that this is the plan you have for the nation? You did not put yourself there. The whole people voted for you. So we are supposed to know your templates. What are your framework? What are your templates? What are your cardinal points? What time limit are we going to go through it? We want a leader that will come and tell us that the Nigerian problem cannot be resolved in the next 10 years. But this is what we are going to do from day one to that 10 years. In the 6 months, this is what you are going to get as a result. In 1 year, this is what you are going to get as a result. In the next 2 years, this is what you are going to get as a result. You are not telling us anything. You are just saying we should be patient. I'm just 1 year old. So if you say we should be patient for the next 4 years and you don't have any program, there is no framework, there is no template, there is nothing on ground, just be patient, then you end up not saying anything to the people, because you did not say this is what you are going to do and this is where we are ending the suffering. So where do we start from? Where are we heading to? Is it that we wake up in the morning, you tell us another story, and wake up in the afternoon, or the next day you tell us another story? So let's know the template. I'm not against anybody. We know that the issue of Nigeria today did not start yesterday.
That's been an inherited problem.
Yes, it has been there for some time now.
All right.
So since it has been there for some time, we should know what you are going to do in the next...
the short-term plans.
The short-term and the long-term. You can't just have a short-term plan. A national planning system goes 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 25 years.
But what Nigerians are after is about food on the table. They want things to get better. And, and it looks that there are pressure on the president to reverse back the issues of fuel subsidy. which the president has said is not possible again.
No, we can't talk of fuel subsidy. I've never supported fuel subsidy in any day. But the way we went by it, we didn't build anything out of it. And we didn't tell the people this is the way to go.
When you say, Prof, when you say you don't support fuel subsidy, looking at the level of hardship we have today, that those that feel that in other climes, government subsidize some products, some certain essential product to some citizens. So in that direction, it looks that we can't entirely wipe out the idea of subsidy.
No nation subsidizes petroleum products.
In some products, some services, essential services.
What I'm saying, no nation have subsidized petroleum products. Let's get that right. But as we say we have removed subsidy, what are the other things we are doing that will bring SOCOM to the people? That is what I'm talking about. Remove the subsidy, yes, I support that very well, right from even before the government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I support removing of subsidy. But then, what are you doing to make the people get SOCOM? That is what I'm talking about. There must be something. There must be a plan, a framework, and this is what we are following.
Well, let's get to very salient issues. You know, they have also linked all of this to a fear of a military takeover, and that those that will argue that we can't mention the days of the military regimes in this country, so we can't go back. We can't even have that kind of conversation. But government is saying it looks at these agitations, you know, by, you know, especially mostly in the north, because a protest took place in Lagos, protests took place in Abuja here and all of that. It was peaceful in Port Harcourt and all of that. But it looks that it took another dimension in the north, so that there are fears of government that it looks that people are calling for military to take over. And we can't begin to count better days of military regimes in this country. So we can't even negotiate that.
The truth is that we have gotten successful 25 years of democracy.
So is it not still better?
Successful. I use the word successful. The call for the military must be because the angry man or the hungry man is an angry man. So if you look at my anger, for example, it may not be your anger as a person. So when you are agitating, you are speaking from your mind. The military you are talking of, are they prepared to take over? The answer is no or yes, because I'm not in their mind. You understand me? But I am very sure that the military of today is not the military of yesternight. And they are not prepared for any takeover. They are not prepared. I am not here to advocate for the military, but the officers I know that are trained today are not the officers that want to take over government by all means. I'm not speaking for them, but then I am very sure they are not ready for military takeover. It is not business as usual. So that fear is just a dummy fear. The military has a lot of things to do. If we have a very coordinating, security coordinating office, and we also have a very good ministry coordinating the affairs of defense, I think the military will be more busy with some other things than thinking of taking over, because the apparatus of security in the military are not utilized. If they are adequately utilized, they will never think of taking over, because they have so many things to benefit than taking over governance.
All right, Prof, one of the big issues relevant in the room is how we can better carry our protests, because you look at, you've been in other climes, you know how well protests in these areas, the shape it takes. We can't compare 2012 protests to the 2020 protests of NSAS. We can't compare NSAS to day one of 2024. So that those are few that it looks at management of protests in the country, is getting out of hand day by day, and that's the much extent why government sometimes are afraid of the protests. From all indication, it looks at sometimes government said, yes, we know it's your right to protest, but we are afraid that people or group will hijack these protests, and that's the reason why they are always, denouncing and coming against such protests. How do we manage this? Because yes, indeed, for democracy to strive, people must criticize, people must protest in their manners or their feelings to policies of government. But how about elements that get to hijack the process in the long run?
Thank you for bringing this into this our discussion today. We have supposed to have personnel trained on conflict resolution. We are supposed to have personnel trained on crisis management. Apart from that, we have the national orientation agencies that are supposed to sensitize the people. Do they do that? The answer is no. Secondly, the Ministry of Information. What information did you display to the people? How many information officers from the local government to the state and to the federal government goes to the grassroots to sensitize the people? None. Then we now come back to if the personnel, the security members and managers are not trained on conflict management, conflict resolution, and crisis management. How do you think they will handle this? The legislators are also sitting down, waiting to collect sitting allowances alone, without going back to their constituents to sensitize the people. They only go back to their constituents every 4 years to ask for
some of them, because those are representing.
They don't go back to the people they represent. There are lots here in Abuja. Lots in their comfort zone.
Do you know the demands at home for them to go back? Huh? The expectations?
They are not supposed to be here. They are not representing Abuja.
They will argue with you that the cost of running constituencies and servicing people at their local levels, is not even their job, but some of them have to do so much in order to meet up with that. People call you for school fees.
Resign.
Call you for hospital bills.
Resign.
With all of those demands.
Resign.
And having to also speak at the house.
Resign.
Is there a share of incompetency?
It's incompetency. You bring frivolous excuses for your inadequacies. Resign. What you're here for is to serve the people. If you can't serve the people, resign. Go. Let the person who can serve the people come to serve the people. It's not an issue of the demands at home. The demands at home where you cannot rub minds with the people. You only want to be at service, carrying police around. If you are a leader, do you need a police? If you actually for the people, do you need police protection?
Probably due to the prevailing insecurity we have in the country.
Who is causing the insecurity? There is no insecurity as far as I'm concerned. We cause the insecurity. And we can stop them. Are they saying they don't know the people in their localities that are fomenting these problems? Well, most of them are political talks. Do they just clamor from somewhere and become what they are agitating for? Some of them were political talks. So they shouldn't come and tell us any story. They should resign and go. If you know that you can't go back to your constituents, then why do they go back when they are looking for their votes? Why?
All right. It's looking very distressing when you look at the fact that in an attempt to try to rationalize or justify government action, there's also attention to pay to, the salient issues. Which are the salient issues? The economic drive. We've seen government try to introduce regional development in the recent, reshuffle of the cabinet of the president to see how they can begin to tackle some of these issues at the regional level, because it looks at the local government elections or local government autonomy that the federal government had intentions for. He's looking at some dramas by the state governors has taken it to another level where we can't really be sure of development, because it looks at the sitting government in the state taking charge of the whole local government process, and what some people say selection that is not an election. Now let's look at how we can begin to tackle some of the regional development. If you just pointed out to the north, because there is also a need, people will tell you that it looks that the governors in the northern part of this country are not doing their best. Yes, there's a need to pay attention to the federal government policies and all of that, but how can they also solve their own problem? Because no one will fix the problem at that level, or many regional problem we have is the people, the leaders of these regions that will develop. Do you subscribe to regional development?
No. No. You see, we created Upper Deck, very good, which now manifests to become a Niger Delta Development Commission. Now we have the Northeast Development Commission. We have the Northwest Development Commission. We have the Southeast Development Commission. The only development commissions we don't have now is the North Central and the Southwest. And we should, if we are talking of regional, then there is a need for us to form the Southwest Development Commission. And we come back again to the North Central Development Commission. This come back again to the experience we have in 1961 to 1963, when we were regionalizing the nation. And that is what we are experiencing today. We regionalize Nigeria to our own detriment today, where we cannot have any single ideology, no single identity, we have been polarized. And this has actually affected us in so many ways. We can say it's a growth template, but it's not. It's not. Because we are already causing divisions, knowingly or unknowingly, to ourselves, that will boomerang into us later. And we don't know the extent this will go to. Because now we could just jokingly say, NDDC, South-South, Northeast Development Commission, Northeast, Northwest, Southeast. Remember, these are the things that create a lot of division. We have not finished about the religion, tribal organs we have. So we could play it on now that we are just talking of, we are going back to the same regional politics, where the North Central will tell us that they are not adequately represented. The Southwest will say they are not adequately represented. The North Central will tell you, the Northwest will tell you, we are not adequately represented. So at what point are we going to say we have one nation in unity and peace? We don't have one nation in unity and peace. We are creating more divisions. So for regional governance, for regional development, I am out of it.
All right, Prof, we don't have a whole lot of time to extract all of these issues, but thanks so much for sharing your thoughts and the concern, the fact that those that are calling for the release of these minors that have been held hostage because of the charges against them. Thanks so much, Prof, for joining us on tonight.
Thank you, and thank you very well for this, and I just pray that they have to do the needful and release those innocent minors to go back home with their parents. Their parents are waiting.
Professor Ibrahim Abubakar, he's our Global TV political analyst and a security expert. Thanks so much once again for joining us. We'll go on a break, and once we return from that break, we'll also highlight some of the demands and the issues and concern of every Nigerian on the program. Do stay with us. We'll be right back.
For an insightful idea that takes the center stage and the conversation that gets beyond the headlines, to explore the lasting impact of political decisions, Big Talk got you